Súbeme la radio, que está mi canción. Siente el bajo que va subiendo. Tráeme el alcohol que quita el dolor. Y vamos a juntar la luna y el sol.
Hey,
Súbeme la radio.
Súbeme la radio.
Hola.
Today on Room 36 we have Patrick Hughes on the show.
How's it going, Daniel? We're reunited again in Kyiv.
Reunited once
all
more.
All these years.
Yeah, we've known each other for how many years now?
It's a lot of years, isn't it? I mean, it's got to be at least 5 years ago.
4.5. Not that anybody's counting.
Okay, 4.5. We'll go with that.
More than 4.5, almost 5 years.
It was winter. It's summer now. Makes sense. Yeah.
Winter. So,
my oldest friend in Kyiv.
Yeah.
The original one.
You're one of my OGs too from Kyiv, man.
Cool.
I felt that I clicked with you pretty quickly.
Yeah, likewise.
Yeah, we did the Banya days.
The Banya days.
Cold days.
Yeah.
Hot Banyas.
Hot and cold.
So we
jumping into the ice cold river. Amazing.
Yeah. We both speak Spanish. Let's try not to speak too much Spanish because we have not so many Spanish speaking guests.
Cool.
How'd you learn Spanish, man?
How did I learn Spanish? Well, when I was 17 years old, yeah, I'm pretty sure I was 17. Didn't know what to do with my life. Didn't want to go to college. So I went down to the south of Spain and I just volunteered on farms for a summer. So I was doing the woofing thing. I don't know if that still exists.
Woof? Yeah. You did woof?
I did that, yeah.
I did woof too, man.
Right.
Yeah.
Is it still going on?
I don't think we ever talked about this.
Maybe not, no.
I'm sure it's going on, but I don't know anybody who does it besides you. I haven't met other people doing woof.
Right.
I met one person who introduced me to it.
Okay. We're a different generation now. The old guard.
Yeah, old guys. And then we had super cheap hostels back then.
Right.
What year did you do?
88 plus 17 is 2005. That makes sense.
That was
2005.
Did you do couch surfing?
I did couch surfing as well.
I did a lot of couch surfing as well.
Not that much. Okay.
Yeah. How long did it take you to learn Spanish?
Not long.
Yeah. What's your advice for people?
That's not. I'm not saying that as like bragging. The reason it didn't take long is because I ended up on a farm with this farmer that didn't speak any English. Nothing.
You're fully immersed.
Nothing. Yeah. So literally, we were talking in sign language for the first week or 2 weeks, and I got on really well with this guy. He had a really cool thing going where he was. So I don't know how long I stayed for, but it was just like slowly, we were just speaking Spanish all day long, and I was gradually understanding. And I don't know, probably my Spanish wasn't that good back then. It's hard to keep track, looking back, but I just learned more and more over the years. And I think now I still speak a lot of Spanish because I just spend a lot of time in Latin bars and in Dublin and even in Kyiv. There's a lot of people you can speak Spanish to, so which really surprised me about Kyiv.
Yeah, and you frequent those places. You're a dancer.
No.
You do some Latin dancing.
No.
What?
No. When I drink a lot, I can dance reggaeton. But I can't actually do it, but I do give it a shot.
How is dancing reggaeton different from dancing to, I don't know, salsa or...
Dancing reggaeton... I don't know, I just make it up. So salsa, I can't really make up. It's a genuine thing,
Like it works with reggaeton.
Well...
When you're drinking.
Yeah, so how well does it work? I'm not really sure, but I just enjoy the music.
Okay, what do you drink?
It's one of those things, I think, it started out as being kind of a joke. Like, the music, it's terrible music. And I was just like, yeah, I love reggaeton. Because I was always going to these Latin bars in Dublin and listening to reggaeton all the time. And then it got to be a thing where I'm like, actually, I really like this music. It's kind of cool.
Hey.
It's terrible, but it's kind of cool at the same time.
That's what happened to me with techno, man.
Really?
Here. Yeah.
Okay.
About that same time when we met, I didn't like techno. Now I love it.
Ukraine is taking you.
Yeah, but I don't go to the spots too much.
Right.
Yeah.
You just listen to it at home when you're working, or what? It's like work
all
music?
the time. Tonight I'm going to listen to some techno.
Focus, work music.
Man, exercise, reading, I might listen to it in the shower. I might listen to it. Today's a drum and bass day.
Okay.
A bit of everything. I get into some lo-fi and what do you call this music? Some chanting music I've gotten into recently.
Okay.
It's just like a cappella chanting from some country.
Yeah.
Not sure which.
See, I don't like the techno because I feel like it's kind of a machine beat and it doesn't have much humanity in it. It doesn't have words. I think I like music with words because it's got more humanity.
One of them old schoolers.
Yeah, you could say that. Yeah, but I've been very impressed with your musical journey because
Oh shucks.
I had no idea you had any musical anything when I met you the first time.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think we talked about it. I never saw you play guitar or anything like that, and now you're like releasing albums every week. It's crazy. You've got
Every 2 weeks.
every 2 weeks. Okay,
No, every 2 or 3 months maybe.
it feels like it. It's a lot. Yeah.
4 or 5 months.
You said you were at how many songs?
Oh man, I'm blushing. 100. I hit 100. So I haven't made this announcement for anybody listening. I'm done as Daniel Hayes.
Yeah,
I'm this new artist now, but I won't say the name.
right. Top secret information. I
Yeah,
won't
you'll see when it
disclose.
comes out. I like trying new things, man. Like this bandana on my head.
It works.
Yeah,
It works.
just to see, if I feel good in something else. Oh, I got this sweater by the way at secondhand and paid $1.50 for it the
Here.
other day. Yeah,
Okay.
and I sort of like the contrast between wearing something baggy and cheap and then wearing something tight and expensive.
Right.
Not that baggy and tight have to do with.
So you want to experience
Price.
both sides of the spectrum to see what it's like to walk in the king's shoes and the pauper's shoes.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Does it resonate with you?
Yeah, well, I like that whole idea that what's that saying? Something about like, you should be able to speak to the pauper the same way you speak to the king or whatever.
By the way, remind me what's a pauper? Because
Pauper is like it's just a poor person,
Pauper.
a peasant.
And spelled like Pauper.
Yeah,
Pauper.
yeah.
I always wondered what that word meant.
There you go.
Yeah. You're from Ireland.
I'm from Ireland. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. Can you hear it in the accent anymore, or have I lost it?
No, you've got it. Sometimes it comes out too. You said nothing earlier.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. There's some words.
Yeah.
And we use some funny words that other people don't use.
Like slancha.
Like sláinte, that's a good one. I'm glad you remember that.
Slancha made the
Sláinte.
most important word you can know.
Exactly.
Sleinte.
No, it's never that simple with Yes.
Slainte.
Yes, there is a fada in there
So
as
it's
well,
like
which is an
slaint.
accent. But,
Where's the fada?
I'm pretty sure it's over the A. Could be the E. Don't remember exactly.
But you can write it without the fada.
You'd be understood. Yeah, I don't think it has a double meaning,
Okay.
unlike reggaeton.
Last time I saw you before Kyiv was in Budapest, I believe.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
Yeah.
with Jason, right?
Yeah, with my friend Jason.
Yeah.
He's coming here soon, by the way.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, maybe he's one of the next episodes.
Right.
And that was pre-COVID. Well, pre-COVID.
That was
Quite a while back,
well
yeah.
pre-COVID. Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't even remember when I was.
Let's talk about COVID, though.
COVID.
I know
Yeah.
COVID really impacted your job, your profession.
Yeah. So in Ireland, I was working in tourism. I was working as a tour guide.
Mm-hmm.
Best job ever. Like, it was great. I loved it because it's just basically talking about Ireland, showing people around Dublin. I was very passionate about it. That you get all these Americans coming there that have Irish heritage. They're just enthralled to be in Ireland. They're like, wow, Ireland. And then you're their kind of first point of contact with the country. Their first introduction a lot of the time, and they're just like amazed at everything, and it's this great feeling, where you're just everybody's happy and you're sharing the history. They're all fascinated. It's really cool. Yeah, and then COVID hit, and then tourism died overnight. Bam, over, finished.
Right. Can we pause? I'm curious for listeners and for myself. Is there something about Dublin that you think everybody in the world should know about as a tour guide of Dublin and sort of a Dublin expert? Or what's like one thing that really stands out that comes to mind?
Oh, that's difficult to answer.
Sorry to put you on the spot.
Yeah, I feel very on the spot because I can't think of any one fact. Because what's nice about the tour is that it's made up of like stories and very kind of in-depth stories. So it's all about the story of this guy that was imprisoned here and then escaped and then started a rebellion against the English. And
Interesting.
there isn't many interesting buildings in Dublin compared to other cities. So it's not really like, here's an interesting building. It's interesting because of this and that. It's like, here's a sort of building that's not that interesting. It was interesting 1,000 years ago, then it burnt down. Now they built something else. But what happened in the other building 1,000 years ago is this and this and this. And it's kind of just the stories of what happened in the place.
Interesting.
More so than facts about the city itself. I'm sure there's a lot of interesting facts that are just not coming to mind right now.
What was like your favorite part of the tour? How long did it last? Like an hour?
3 hours.
3 hours.
2.5, 3
You
hours.
wouldn't get tired after 2.5.
Yeah, I'd be
3 hours?
wrecked. Absolutely wrecked.
What was your
Yeah.
favorite part of it? Problem.
My favorite part is the story of Red Hugh O'Donnell, who is basically, I don't know how to tell it in a short way, but Red Hugh O'Donnell. What a name, right? He's kind of like a forgotten Irish hero and forgotten Irish legend, but he was imprisoned in Dublin Castle by the English because he was the son of the king of Donegal. And this king of the clan of Donegal, which is a part of Ireland in the north, because Ireland was all clans back then with different kings of the different clans. So there was two different powerful kings in the north, and he was the son of one of them, and they were sort of fighting against each other, but then they wanted to team up and fight against the English. The English were like, no, we're not having that. We're going to kidnap your son, kidnap the son. He was in there with two other guys, and they had this like epic escape from Dublin Castle. I won't go into the details. Go to Dublin, check it out, but had this epic escape from the castle, the only people to ever escape from the castle, and they started a rebellion against the English. They got the help from the Spanish, and everything was about to go right, like we were about to win everything. It was just like a certain victory because we got so much aid from the Spanish. Then everything went wrong. We totally lost. But it's a crazy point in history because actually, like, if that rebellion had been successful, we'd probably be speaking Spanish in Ireland instead of English.
Wild.
Yeah, which is crazy to think, like, it's history a lot of the times a flip of a coin, you know.
But
and
why wouldn't we all be speaking Irish?
yeah, Spanish and Irish.
And Irish.
Yeah, we're not speaking Irish now because the English repressed the language. But
bastards.
Yeah, but the Spanish wouldn't have probably. So
That's
it would have been different.
interesting, man. It's a similar thing for Paraguay.
Oh,
Yeah.
I don't know anything about Paraguay's history.
I know we're going off on a tangent here. We're coming back to COVID times and everything.
Yeah.
But with Paraguay, and I'm probably going to slaughter the history, I believe it was around the Civil War in the U.S., like 61 to 65.
Okay.
As far as I remember, they were winning most of the war. And they were fighting a war against Brazil, Bolivia, and Argentina on all three sides.
Just because everyone was trying to expand territory and take over Paraguay.
They were all European powers trying to get into Paraguay, which is the center of South America.
Right.
And they spoke only Guarani. They had like a fully Guarani society. And they were winning the war, I believe, for like 3 years, like most of the war. Okay. And then there's this river that goes into Paraguay. And apparently they cut into this river, like won some key battles there, got into the country and killed all the men. They just like infiltrated the country and killed all the men. So the country was like 92, 94% women.
Right.
For a while. And like, they lost. They still speak Guarani as their number one language.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow, okay.
But alongside Spanish. If they had won, then South America would be speaking Guarani. Most likely.
Wow, yeah.
And would not have so much European influence.
Right.
But what ifs? Maybe that would suck, man. I don't know. Maybe the Guarani are trash. I'm just kidding. Shout out to Guarani.
I mean, at the end of the day, we have what we have, right? I mean, we end up in the world that we end up in, and you can't really change the past or alter it. So gotta live with it.
We can discuss it on podcasts. So we hit quarantine. You were out of that job.
Yeah.
What'd you do?
I was lost.
Lost.
See, my problem is I think too much. This has been my problem my whole life. So I started over-analyzing, over-philosophizing, questioning the meaning of everything. And my life up to that point, like in Dublin, it had been very easy, very comfortable, too comfortable. Like my job was easy. It was exciting because I was doing public speaking, which is something I like to do.
Yeah.
And I guess you get a lot of attention from that and it feels good. But it was also just easy. I mean, like, I was making good money, working not many hours, and it was very easy for me to, like, go out drinking in the middle of the week and get up late and go to work hungover and do things like that. And my whole world had been sort of focused around just having the easy life in Dublin, chasing girls, trying to speak Spanish in Latin bars and things like that. And then when COVID hit, it was just like, everything stopped. The gyms were... Because Ireland had one of the most oppressive lockdowns, I think, of any country in Europe. You could not go more than 5 kilometers from your house for a long time. And so all of the bars were closed. I believe a lot of them are still closed. I'm not sure how open it is now. Like, the restaurants were closed. The gyms were closed. Devastating. All the shops were closed except the supermarkets.
I wish you'd been here, man. It was almost lawless here.
I know.
As usual.
And I finally got here. It was still locked down when I left home to come here.
Really?
And and then I went to Portugal, and it was starting to lock down in Portugal. And I came here, and I was like, "Whoa, what? This
What
is
is going on?
insane. This is insane."
But maybe you got something out of that, because I know you went to the countryside.
Yeah. Well, so I spent a long time in Dublin, very depressed, severely depressed, for that first summer after lockdown, and yeah, thinking too much, and just like. I think I just have this habit of like falling back into just starting to learn stuff. Like, okay, I'll resort to learning stuff. So I'm like watching YouTube all day about history, economics, languages, whatever. But it's not like that kind of intellectualizing isn't very fulfilling in the long run. It's kind of like, what am I doing? Why am I doing this? And I started to question about my whole life and what I was doing with my whole life. And
Can I ask, what does depression look like for Patrick? What are the symptoms?
Yeah, I think just a lot of sitting around ruminating about different thoughts, about like feeling like a failure maybe, or feeling like what's the meaning of life, like looking for meaning. And I think that's a real problem, because it's like asking questions and then asking more questions and asking more questions and overthinking and asking why, and trying to get to the bottom of like meaning when there's asking the questions I don't think is the answer. You know, I think you create your own meaning by what you do in life, and trying to dig it up and like battle with it actually doesn't help. It actually just entangles you in this web of complicated thoughts that are just tying you down. At least that's what it felt like for me. So
Do you think
I felt like that, like the answer that I finally found was to stop asking.
but you went there? I don't know, you like had this maybe you still do. By the way, sometimes I can deal with some forms of depression, not so intense, but
Yeah.
going there, did you take something like from it? Do you think you learned something?
I don't know, because it was all very under the surface, and it was almost like I felt like I was moving through things subconsciously under the surface. What finally like broke me out of it is I was training for this race. Like I told you about this race that I was supposed to do, where it was like a 50-kilometer race with obstacles, ultramarathon.
Wild.
Like I've never done anything like it, but that gave me a focus, and that like because I was keeping me training even though the gyms were closed, that gave me something to put my energy into.
I saw you vlogging in the countryside.
Yeah, running around,
running all the time.
But
and you were training for this 50-kilometer race, and you were doing like in the beginning like 5 kilometers, 6 kilometers, 7, like
yeah. I had no experience running, but I just wanted to do something that was really difficult. Like I felt like I needed that challenge, but then it kept getting cancelled because of COVID. So it'd be like I'd sign up for it, and then it'd be like moved 3 months out, and then that'd be cancelled, then it'd be moved again.
Frustrating?
Yeah, and it still hasn't happened. I'm registered to do it in November, so it's a couple of months away, but I'm still training for it. But now I've totally lost the train of my thought. But that gave me some focus. But also I got really into cognitive behavioral therapy and journaling, like doing this thing, morning pages, where you just write 750 words every morning, just stream of consciousness. Don't think about it, about what it doesn't matter. It's just stream of consciousness, and that really helped to process a lot of what was going on.
And you stick with it?
Yeah, I haven't done it for the last few months, but before that, I was doing it every morning religiously. Whoa. And it was super good. It was amazing. Actually blew me away. The first few mornings I was like, this is ridiculous. 750 words. That's way too much. Like, it's just a lot of writing. It's too much effort. It's not going to have any results. But actually, when you do it for a while, it's like, wow.
What is that, like an hour, 45 minutes?
Well, you're supposed to do it freehand. It's supposed to be better. And that takes ages. Yeah, that takes about 45 minutes. So now I type it, and it's like 15, 20 minutes. Yeah. Okay. But yeah, it's super good.
I think that's really good for other things as well. In high school, I had to write for one of my classes. Like, I thought it was the worst class in high school. Now I think it was the best one I ever had. One of those stories, you know?
Right.
Like, thank you, teacher from the past who we all hated.
Okay.
Miss Dibbin. Yeah, just shout out Miss Dibbin.
What was it?
We had to write for 5 minutes with no topic,
Okay.
No stops, freehand.
Wow.
About
that's cool.
anything. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I just wrote a bunch of shit, man. Just random stuff.
Right.
And
Did you have to give it to the teacher?
no, she wouldn't read it.
Okay, that's cool. Yeah.
But that definitely brought something out of me because I started writing a bunch of rubbish, man. Like a bunch of random stuff. So random that like my friends would start reading it and be like, dude, what is this?
Yeah.
And I was just start doing it to make them laugh or try to make them laugh.
Right.
I think that was the beginning of the creative stuff for me. Back to where we were with
Where were we?
COVID,
Yeah.
countryside.
Yeah. So then I went to the countryside for a good 6 months, and I think
6 months.
Yeah.
You're with family?
Yeah. My parents live way out in the countryside,
Okay.
and I think I'd like settled at that point. You know, it was good.
What'd your day look like besides writing in the morning and running?
Looking at Bitcoin charts. I think.
Oh, yeah.
Now that
you're
now
doing
that I
Bitcoin
think of it,
stuff.
I'm like, yeah, the countryside was nice. Like there was like sunshine, and I was in the fresh air. And now that I'm thinking about it, I'm like, actually, I was stressed out like 24/7 because I was trading crypto full time, and it was up and down, and like I'd have euphoria and then panic and despair and all the emotions. So. Yeah, but no, the countryside. But I was also running in the countryside, and there was the fresh air, and it was like rowing in the morning, and yeah, it was good.
Okay.
It was good.
Patrick, you lived in the US for some time.
Lived in the US for 5 years.
5 years.
Yeah.
In Oregon?
In Oregon, yeah.
Whereabouts?
In Portland. I spent a year just traveling around, across the country a few times, and then I ended up in Portland.
What are your thoughts on Portland? Did you meet many Irish people in Portland?
I probably met all of 2 Irish people in Portland. Yeah, so not many. It's kind of a bit off the map. Like most people, when I say Oregon, they're like, where's that?
Yeah.
So I don't think many people know too much about it. Maybe Portland's become a bit more famous now since I left.
There's a TV show,
Portlandia, yeah.
Portlandia.
Which I've never seen, but I think is quite accurate. I've heard about Portland. Yeah, I like...
One word to describe Portland?
To describe Portland... trendy.
Trendy at the moment. It could be.
At the time, because I think it was up and coming when I was there, and it's just gotten more and more trendy. And I think, yeah, that was kind of what described it. But America's interesting because, like, it's such an amazing country. The wilderness is incredible, especially where you're from in California, like around Shasta and around the redwoods. And I know you're kind of in the middle of those two, right?
Yeah. And off to the side.
And off to the side a
but,
bit. And then you got the mountains in the east as well, the Yuba River and the Sierra Nevadas.
Which are wild and extremely high.
Yeah.
I tell a lot of people that that we have mountains in the US that are like, let's see, in meters, what is that? 14,000 feet.
A lot,
almost 5,000 meters.
Yeah, yeah.
Like a lot of them. A
Right.
lot of these tall mountains. And
They're dramatic.
Yeah, people associate California with the beach.
Right.
Obviously, but we have tons of mountains.
California's incredible.
It's tragic, man, because of the fire situation.
Right.
They're all over, man. Last year, my parents evacuated twice. I
Wow.
don't think we've talked about this.
No.
Yeah.
And this is from the valley. It's not. They don't live in the forest, right? I mean, they're living in the valley.
They live in the hills.
Okay.
And it's a bit of a risky area because there are just like 2 or 3 roads that leave the hills. And sometimes one of those is blocked off by like fires.
Right.
My dad's a firefighter as well. Shout out, Dad. By the way,
right.
he was my last podcast. He was on here.
Cool. Yeah, they were here a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah. He's a volunteer firefighter. They get paid when they have to respond to a fire.
Right.
Pretty well. Otherwise, it's just free. You know, a lot of like young guys and girls now.
Yeah.
Are doing that because like we all know people who lose their homes.
Wow.
Yeah, so I tell them move to Ukraine, man. Come out to Ukraine. No fires.
No fires.
No earthquakes.
Yeah. How did he like Ukraine? Both of your parents.
Really liked it. I got COVID, so like.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, it was kind of a damper on the situation.
Right.
But they really liked it. They thought it was first world. My dad said like, "Oh, I thought it was a third world country. I thought it was like Paraguay." And he thought, "Well, it's like really first world."
Right.
The roads in the mountains are super nice.
Are they?
Yeah, we rented a car.
Okay.
So, yeah. How about this depression? It's always an interesting topic. Did you get out of it?
Yeah.
And do you feel solid now? Like,
Yeah.
on the right path?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but it was all subconscious. Like, well, I feel like once I've got, like, I was doing the cognitive behavioral therapy just on my own.
What's that look like?
It's a lot about questioning your thoughts. So basically, the idea comes from Epictetus, the Greek philosopher, that there's nothing.
Epictetus.
Well, yeah, Epictetus is the guy's name.
Epic.
I'm going to quote Shakespeare now, which is not Epictetus, but it's the same idea. Shakespeare said there's nothing either good or bad, but thinking makes it so. So Epictetus basically had the same idea, that it's your thinking that decides, how you feel about things. So basically the idea is that negative states of mind and negative moods stem from negative thoughts. Yeah. And the negative thoughts that you have are very often distorted. That most of the time they're distorted. They're not actually true. They're not reality. So the idea is to first of all look at your thoughts and be aware of them, because a lot of the time we're not aware of the thoughts that we're actually having. They're just playing in our mind. And then to realize that you're not your thoughts. Your thoughts are just something that's going on in your head. It's not you. And then to take those thoughts and look at them and be like, whatever it is, like, I'm a failure, and to break it down and be like, wait a second, what does that even mean? And why do I think that? And what's the evidence against that? Like, almost to take your thoughts and put them in a courtroom and be like, well, okay, this is what my mind is coming up with, but look at all the evidence against it. Like, no, I've done this, I've done this, and I've done this, like, and to look at how your thoughts are basically misleading you.
It's a great metaphor, by the way. Let's make it like very subjective, or rather objective, to put it in a courtroom. And do you think that's the idea that often plays in your head? Like, maybe I'm a failure?
Yeah, it has been historically. Yeah.
I've played with that one too, man.
Yeah. See, for me, like, I was really good at school. I was just good at school. Like, I was naturally good at. I have a good memory. So for exams, it was very easy for me to do well in exams.
You didn't cheat on the exams?
No,
Patrick?
I was just able to take in information and remember it. It's nothing amazing. It's just an ability to remember things. Because, I mean, that's what school is, right? It's your test of your ability to remember useless information. So I was pretty good at that. And I was, like, basically a straight A student. And then we have this really cool thing in Ireland called transition year, where you're 15, 16, where it's like you kind of take a break from school. And
it's like gap year.
A gap year in a sense, yeah. And you get to experience a lot of things. Like, that's when I first did public speaking. You do work experience. It's weird to talk about this so long ago, but you get a lot of different experiences that aren't so intellectual. And then after that, I was like, wait, what am I doing all this other intellectual? Why am I learning all this useless information, remembering useless information? That's not what I want to do. And then I dropped out of school when I was 16. And it was sort of like this. There's always been this battle, because it's taken me a very long time to kind of find my way on my own. And I don't know, maybe I still haven't found it, but like, it would have been very easy for me to just go to college and study something and get a good job, but that's
interesting. I didn't know that. I didn't know you dropped out. You didn't go back.
No, I did go back to university in the end, but I studied acting, which was the stupidest idea ever.
Was it?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that's an intellectual hobby. I admire people who do acting.
Yeah, you see, but I think I was trying to escape from intellectualism, and that's why I studied acting. Because I didn't want to do something intellectual, because I didn't feel like it was fulfilling. I felt like it was anti-fulfilling. I felt like it was going back to that thing of being over intellectual, over philosophizing, and asking why all the time, being stuck in your head, being stuck in your thoughts. And that was exactly what I didn't want. And so I was trying to escape from that. So I was like, yeah, okay, I'll go to university, I'll give it a shot, but I'll do something that's completely off the grid, off the map, wacky.
What makes you happiest? I know it's such a general question.
General, yeah. Yeah, I like working out.
Working out?
Yeah, a lot. I also like having sex. I can't deny it. I can't not say it. I can't not say it.
I was wondering what's coming after the pause.
Yeah.
I saw
Dramatic
something
pause.
brewing there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like your transparency.
Yeah. But I think that was the problem for me, was like with the lockdown, was because I built my life around that, It was like going to the gym, chasing girls. And then the lockdown came and it was like, Okay.
Okay.
Off the table.
Oh, something you mentioned earlier about being a tour guide. You were talking all day long. You get like feedback. You get attention.
Yeah.
I think it's addicting.
It's very addicting. Yeah. It's validating.
Yeah, it's validating.
It's like that social media thing, you know? The people get addicted to social media because of the likes and all that. It's the same thing. It's just way more actually in real life. So it's almost more addicting, I think. So yeah, not having that as well, I think.
You're not addicted to social media, Patrick?
I'm not actually. I'm not, and I'm lucky that I'm not. But I'm definitely addicted to screens. So.
Like reading stuff or watching stuff.
Exactly, all that stuff. Learning stuff from screens.
Yeah.
Trying to get new information. It's terrible.
Even though you don't want to get.
Yeah, in a sense. Yeah,
information. I think
exactly.
Too much.
Yeah.
So you are the 13th podcast.
Okay.
On Room 36. 13 for many is an unlucky number.
Right.
I think we need a little bit of luck of the Irish to chase away that bad luck. Can you tell me a story in which you were very lucky? Sorry to put you on the spot again.
Yeah. I'm
sure you've had some luck.
Yeah, for sure. Man, this is going back to the time when I was super young and reckless.
Yeah.
But I was in the States, right? Like 17 or I was probably 18 at this stage. And I'd just been hitchhiking around the States.
Wow.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. Like I would never do something like this again. It's way too much time just standing on the side of a road. But I had this 90-day visa. It's not a visa, but it's like 90 days without you don't need a visa.
Yeah.
And then but I wanted to stay longer, so I wanted to get an extension. So I decided I'd hitchhike to Canada, and then I'd just cross the border and go back again. Easy. So I thought this was a fantastic plan. Being 18. So I ended up on the side of the road in Minnesota in a blizzard, and night was falling.
Oh man.
And it was like a bad blizzard. It was one of those blizzards that like, I don't know what time of year this was, because I think it was, off the top of my head, I think it was maybe like March, April. So it's not summertime, you know, like this is winter weather. It's one of these blizzards where they're getting announcements on the radio in the cars. They're like, you know, don't drive, don't leave your house. This is crazy. You got to stay indoors. So I'm trying to hitchhike, and there's no one on the road, and I don't have a coat. Like I'm not used to, you know,
you're like wearing this. Or what?
I'm wearing like a woolly jumper kind of a thing.
Okay.
Like an Irish woolly jumper, basically. It's sweater in American, and like I'm not, you know, I'm from Ireland. Yeah, it's cold, but I've never been in like blizzards before, so this is a new experience. And standing there on the side of the road, it's getting dark, and I'm just like being an idiot, a young reckless idiot. I'm just like, I'll just try and go and sleep in the snow or something. I'll be fine. I'll make it to the morning, because of course I'm not in a town either. I'm just
Did you try to sleep in the snow?
No, I was just in the middle of a country road, and I was just like waiting to see if someone would, you know, see if any cars would come. And this woman who was going the opposite direction turned around and was like, "What are you doing?" And
she's like, "You're gonna die."
Yeah. Picked me up, brought me to her cabin where she was living with her boyfriend, and they put me up for the night. And like, I don't know if I would have survived without Andy and Amy in Minnesota.
Shout out to Andy and Amy.
Shout out to Andy and Amy for sure. So yeah, that was a real luck of the Irish moment, I think.
Oh man, that's a crazy one. I don't know if I have a.
You must have sometime. You were super
one.
Lucky as well.
Probably. Nothing comes to mind, but I'm happy to hear your story.
Nothing comes to mind.
I'm very often lucky, man. To be honest.
You just don't notice it anymore. It's every day.
You know, I had a roommate who, like, we were close, but he sort of hated me because I was so lucky. And he was so unlucky all the time.
Wow.
And he was always like, "You're so fucking lucky." And he would get angry about it and then walk in his room and, like, stub his toe and break his bone. Like,
right.
He just had bad luck. And I watched it, man, and I started thinking, maybe I do, man. Maybe I just have some good luck thing.
You know, there was a psychologist called Richard Wiseman who did experiments about luck, and he's
Interesting.
he's not a woo woo guy. He's a psychologist,
Very interesting.
and he found that actually some people were much more lucky than others, and that basically the people that were more lucky were the people that were always looking for opportunities. And there was a famous psychology experiment where, I don't remember the exact details, but they got a newspaper, and they asked the subjects to go through the newspaper and count how many pictures there were. And so they were going through counting the pictures. But these psychology experiments, of course, they're not ever about the thing that you're asked to do. There's always something else going on that you don't know about. So you would flick through the newspaper, and then you would get to a page, and it would say in massive big letters, it would say, "Stop counting pictures. Just tell the experimenter you've seen this, and they're going to give you £50." And so some people would actually see that and be like, oh yeah, £50, great. And then other people, they'd be so anxious about just counting the pictures that they'd actually totally miss that, and they just count the pictures and miss the opportunity that was there right in front of them.
Very interesting.
So actually the anxiety in your mind about what you're doing can actually create a blind spot for opportunities, and that people who are more open and looking at the world with this like sense of opportunism and sense of like, I don't know what's going to happen, happy-go-lucky, like looking for opportunities, actually find them. So there is actually a bit of a psychological skill to luck. Maybe you have it.
I hope so.
Sounds like it.
You know, I don't watch all the podcasts, but I think that's one bit I will definitely be visiting. I'll definitely watch our podcast. This is a fun one for me so far.
Cool.
Oh no, it might go south. Who knows?
Yeah.
But that's an interesting thing for like entrepreneurs and who basically by definition are like opportunity seekers.
Right. Yeah.
Or opportunity finders even.
Yeah, it's super interesting.
Would you like to be an entrepreneur?
You know, it's funny, the entrepreneur thing, because like I feel like I have these entrepreneurial tendencies that I'm very driven, I'm very ambitious.
Yeah.
But I have no interest in business. And it's like, this is kind of the problem is like, you know, I'll do my tourism job and have a great time. And then when that stops, it's difficult for me to find an alternative, because I'm not like an opportunity seeker in terms of business. It's more like I'm really driven in the gym, you know, like things like that, like things that are more visceral appeal to me. And it's trying to escape from intellectualism and getting it more into the visceral side of things.
I wanna share like one insight I had recently. Business has this connotation like, it's fucking business.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah.
And more recently, I've met more business people. I would say like entrepreneurs, CEOs specifically. Maybe I told you about this like CEO club type thing. There's one of these guys I talk to every week. Shout out to him. And he's given me a lot of interesting ideas to think about. One of them is about his experience with astrology. So he pays a bunch of money to go to this very legit astrologist.
Okay.
Who told him like, you are, I forget what it is. You're like X% builder, X% destroyer, and X% routine keeper. And he's mostly destroyer and builder, like these two.
Okay.
And he hates the routine. Okay. And I think for some people, business is like routine. You know, you have to manage the accounts and keep on track or whatever. But all he does basically is shows up, makes something, or destroys something. There's like a project that's failing. He's just like, let's kill this thing.
Right.
And then he keeps going. And he lets like other people do all of these things.
Yeah.
For him. And I think that's an interesting idea. If you just that's more of like the visceral, you know, working out type of thing. You got the idea, boom, you put it into action, and then you just on to the next one.
Yeah.
I don't know if that like resonates with what you're talking about. If it's the routine.
No, I don't have any problem with routine.
Okay.
It's the monetizing.
It's
the, like, I think there's a deep instinct that capitalism doesn't work. And it's difficult to go against that grain. And I think it's especially easy for guys like me, I don't know, maybe you as well, that came from very abundant countries where we didn't need for anything. You know, we had like everything we needed, food and shelter and education and all that, to kind of think too much, maybe.
Think too much.
Yeah, or just like.
Let me ask it this way: would you like to be filthy rich, Patrick?
Yeah, I wouldn't mind, but I'm not driven by that.
Okay.
I'm not waking up in the morning like, yes, I'm gonna make money today. Like,
But you'd be happy to be in that situation.
yeah, I mean,
Um,
but I'd put my work first into like the gym. Like if I had to choose between like, okay, be rich or like be fit, it's like gym.
Sure.
So that's
Question number 2. You said you're good at tests. Would you
a different kind of test?
would you like to provide tons of value in society?
Yeah. But again, I don't think it like...
Which one is more between 1 and 2, the money or providing value? Do you think is more interesting, like, personally? And they can both be, like, not interesting. Because I think that's fine as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I think theoretically it's not interesting to me, but then, like, back to the tour guiding, it's like you get satisfaction because people are really engaging into it, so...
And you're giving them some value.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I go back and forth. Not so huge on the money on question 1.
Yeah.
I would like to be filthy rich because I would like to be in a position to be filthy rich.
Yeah.
I would like it to be a byproduct of other things I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe even have that responsibility of being filthy rich. You could do a lot of interesting... You could, like, help a lot of people, as cheesy as it is.
Yeah.
But I think that could be very rewarding.
100%. It's just kind of abstract. It's just like...
Sure.
I guess it's not...
Helping people.
No, it's just not an instinctual drive to make money to help people. It's too much like convoluted, It's...
Sure, and I'm kind of skeptical sometimes of people who are like, I want a ton of money so I can help people.
Yeah. I think what it is, I think it's like there's a desire to do something that you're passionate about, and the idea of making it into a business feels like it's going to ruin it. Like it's going to take the joy out of it, or
that's interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know if I agree.
Yeah, I mean, it's
possible.
Not necessarily true. It may be a distorted negative thought.
I think the alternative to that is basically working for somebody else's idea. And this is also very, very abstract as well. But like less control. And basically saying, I don't want to have too much control. Let me work for somebody and let them control things.
Yeah.
And I'll collect my proper salary, a good salary it could be.
Yeah, which I would hate to do.
You don't want to work for an employer.
Yeah.
Okay, so
this is the problem, you see.
I think by process of elimination, you have to do something somewhat entrepreneurial.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that's kind of like what I'm here for, is trying to figure that out. It's like, okay, tourism died. I have to reinvent my life. I have to think of something different to do. And so I'm leaving Ireland and going somewhere else. I mean, I was in Portugal, now I'm here. And it's like trying to figure out what that is.
Yeah.
But it's a work in progress.
By the way, I have no idea what time it is. I forgot to bring my watch and even check when we started.
Yeah, I don't know either.
We can go
this room is timeless.
A few more minutes
outside of time.
Pretty into this topic.
You see, I think there's always like this split between it's like what I'm passionate about, what I really want to do, versus like some skill that's marketable that'll make easy money, and that's the like freelance and do something, to make a quick buck, to make a living, or like really go down the route which you're doing, which I really admire, of like going into your passions and trying to build something around your passions that's not guaranteed to succeed at all.
Hasn't.
But you still do it, and like that's and then this is like this battle in my mind of like really wanting to do the thing I'm passionate about, but then feeling like it's not practical and that I have to not do it because it's not practical enough. So
to kind of like categorize these, or let's add a third question: do you want to be happy?
Yeah, that sounds good.
These are really things like: do you want to have a ton of money? Do you want to provide a ton of value? Or do you want to be happy?
Yeah.
3 sounds like the best for you.
Yeah.
Me too, man. But I go back and forth on number 2.
Yeah.
Right now, I'm in a phase where I don't want to care. I don't want much pressure
Right.
to provide value. Let this podcast be crap, man. If somebody thinks so, F it.
Yeah, but I think that's nice. Is like you don't have to have pressure for that. That should be a byproduct of just what you're doing anyway. You know, I don't think that needs to be the aim.
Ideally, that would be a nice system to grow from.
Yeah.
A lot of pondering.
Yeah.
A lot of good chatting.
Too much pondering.
Patrick, I think we'll wrap it up.
Cool. Great to talk to you, Daniel.
Always great to talk to you, man.
Yeah,
I told Stas before you came in here, you're one of the most interesting people I've met.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, I meant it sincerely. So
yeah, and I've been very inspired by, like I said, like everything you're doing. You seem to be doing everything. I mean, you seem to be ultra productive here, which is crazy. You're doing the music, you're doing the podcast, you're doing the teaching, like soft skills, as you call them, communication skills, which is really cool that you've set that up. And yeah, you'd like Russian is amazing. You sound proper.
Thanks,
local
man.
when you speak Russian.
But you
You're doing it
know, all of these things, if I start to think like productivity or business and attach it to these things, it gets intimidating to me as well.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's why
the
why I kind of relate to your pickle.
Right. Yeah.
There, I just want to, look at it from the lens of this is fun. Let me just have fun. And it's a fine line to walk, actually, because you go off to the side and then it can become...
You have to survive at the same time.
This is serious business. I got to please people and I got to follow the rules and that type of thing.
Right.
So, Patrick, we'll turn off the camera and we can keep chatting.
All right, cool.
Thanks for coming on the
Thank you,
show,
Daniel.
man.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Yeah. See you guys soon. Thanks for joining.
Súbeme la radio, que está mi canción.